Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to write these into your calculator. So the log button is this button that's above the little 10 to the x. So you're going to press Control and then that 10 to the x button. And because this is a just log, because it doesn't have a base there, it's what we call a common log. On the Inspires, you're probably going to have to type in that 10 as the base. And then it was 8, right? Log base 10 of 8. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Let's see. Log base 10 of 8. Let me try pressing Control, Enter. There we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted a decimal. So it said to round to the nearest 3 places. So our answer here is going to be 0.903. And then with the natural log, that natural log button is above the e to the x, so we're going to press Control, natural log of 0.3. And then I'm going to press Control before I press Enter, so again it gives me a decimal. I want to round that to the nearest 3 places behind the decimal, so I'm going to have negative 1.204. Negative 1.204. On the 84s, have an 84 emulator. I'll show you on those as well. So on the 84s, the log button is just here. You don't have to press Control, you can just press log, and it's going to assume a common log. There is a way to change the base on these. I will show you that when I get back. But you're just going to press log 8 and then press Enter, and you get that 0.903 again. And then your natural log button is just below your log button. So natural log of 0.3, Enter, and you get the same, negative 1.204. So last part, inverse operations. Here we're going to go back to the front side of our notes. And under where it says inverse operations, here's what you're going to write. I would recommend writing at the very top of that box that f of x equals b to the x and g of x equals log base b of x. So if those are our functions, we know that they're inverses already. We've already talked about how exponential and logarithmic functions are inverses. We talked about it in the same way that the square root of x and x squared are inverses. So because they're inverse functions, if we think back to 5, 6, we know that our definition of inverse functions is that when we take g of f of x, it should give us x, and f of g of x gives us x. So you're going to write down these functions here, and then these two definitions in your inverse operations box. Basically, all this says is that a log base b and a base of an exponential function are going to cancel each other out, and you'll just be left with that x. Same thing over here. This b as a base of an exponent and this log base b are going to cancel each other out, and we're just left with that x. So I will do, on the back side, you're going to do some examples on your own. I will do a couple for you. So this 2 times the log base 2 of 8, those are going to cancel each other out. It's just 8. This 5, log base 5 of 125, the 5 and the log base 5 cancel each other out, and it's just 125. See, over here on the right side, the log, remember when there's not a log base written in, it's 10. So 10 to what power gives you 10? 1. 10 to what power gives you 100? Remember that the base of a natural log is e. So go ahead and try to figure out those last few. I'm going to have you pause the video as you try and figure them out. So please pause the video now to try and figure out the other problems. When you're finished, press play again, and I'll give you the answers. All right, so you should have paused. You should have tried to figure these out on your own. Now, I'll tell you the answers. So this one, when there's no base, we can put a base of 10. 10 and the log base 10 cancel out, it's just 3. When there's no base on a natural log, we can put a base of e. E, natural log of e, or e and natural log cancel each other out, it's just 9. Got a base 10 there, those cancel each other out, it's just x. Same bases, just gives us x. On the other side, 10 to what power gives us 100? It's 10 squared. These cancel each other out. It's just left with the exponent, which is 1. So it's just 1. And then these are more evaluating. So 7 to what power gives you 49 squared. These are the same bases, so they cancel each other out. We're left with just 8. Same bases, we're left with x. Another way to think about this one right here is to think about it in terms of log base 7 of 7 squared, because 7 squared is 49. Those would cancel out, and we're left with just that 2. So however you want to think about that is completely up to you. We will finish the rest of these notes, so we'll talk about the graphs next class. But you should have, so what I'm looking for when I see you again, is I'm looking for you to have the front side of the notes filled out, all the way through inverse operations, and the back side through this simplifying box, and your questions, things that you didn't understand, written on your note sheet. Once you've done all that, you can go get your assignment from your sub and start working on that. I will see you either Thursday or Friday. Have a good rest of your day.